Hey, JulesBlessedVegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. So people, I am talking about anxiety, and in particular, pinpointing anxiety. Gosh, praise God I'm well today. I absolutely ate to compliment my body. I ate to live instead of living to eat. But a couple times it got rough in between, I will tell you. I just kind of expect now that at some point every day, temptation, craving, insanity, compulsive nonsense will hit me. And it's just a matter of not acting on it. So I was busy, just busy. And then it was suddenly dinner time and I had to pull stuff together. I had to make my husband's dinner. All of a sudden his dinner looked really good. Which is so not my food. And in real life, I would not even think to eat it, like honestly. But it was smelling really good. I realized I hadn't really had enough water. I was probably more dehydrated than anything else. Suddenly, the kitchen just became a total like, my eyes were going to like everything that wasn't mine, okay? Oh my gosh, I was seeing treats. I was seeing breads. I was seeing like all these things and immediately started my negotiation. Well, I could probably eat that. It is so predictable and so awful. And I just started going through the whole thing. I mean, you have choices and you're an adult and it, it's okay. By grace, I did not act on any of that. I was able to provide his meal, calm myself down, put my meal together, remind myself that I am only living to eat, not eating to live. Wait. I said it backwards. Is that hilarious? It's still new to me. Okay, wait. I'm eating to live, not living to eat. Okay. It's still new. Anyway, praise God, I made it. Kitchen is closed. Tea bar is open. All right, so this is a fantastic one. Again, from my daily thought books, which is Food for Thought by the Hazelton Meditation series. A lot of people use these with eating disorders, disordered eating, 12-step program, Overeaters Anonymous, all those wonderful things. And this one is pinpointing anxiety, because inevitably when I want to throw my program out the window, when I want to throw away my health gains and things, it's some anxiety that is weighing on me. And I certainly did have a difficult day. I will say straight up, it was an absolutely difficult day, which I will not go into, but I think in trying to ignore and forfeit my feelings regarding what transpired, it was building up a ton of anxiety, which I was starting to act on. Okay, so it says, many of us suffer from a vague, nameless anxiety for which we are unable to find a source. We do not know exactly what we fear, but we know that we are afraid. In the past, we tried to dispel the ominous anxiety by eating. As long as we overeat compulsively, we made it more difficult to get at the reasons for our anxiety. Trying to cover it up with food did not get rid of it. And until we stopped eating compulsively, we were unable to identify the source of our anxiety. By abstaining, we face anxiety rather than trying to cover it up. If we are willing to put up with a certain amount of emotional discomfort, we will be able to understand and work through many of the irrational notions that have made us anxious. You know, that whole idea that only 8% of any of our fears ever come to fruition. Our higher power, again, the God of your understanding, the source that you rely on for support, whatever it is for you, our higher power allows buried fears to surface. This is so important, as we acquire the strength and faith to confront them. You know, it's not that people are in denial per se. It's that they weren't ready a second before now to face whatever that struggle was. And I always see that as God's grace, absolutely. When we are abstinent, we are able to define our anxiety more clearly and handle it with greater maturity. And then, of course, the affirmation, if you will, By your light, may we see our irrational anxiety for what it is. Love that. Yeah, I recognize that all the time. I thank God to no end for not revealing things to me a second before I could even begin to handle them. You know, it's not that we necessarily buried things, but that God has protected us from those memories. He's protected them from ourselves because he knew that being overwhelmed by that too quickly was going to be our detriment. So you could almost on that same level trust that when something finally does surface, you must be in a position to be able to handle it. There can be some confidence in that, right? So I'm going to go back through this a second. So we suffer from a vague, nameless anxiety. Absolutely. We don't know what it is, but we used to eat over it. Used to. Love that past tense. As long as we continue to bury it with food, of course. I'm paraphrasing. Covered up with food. It never actually went away, but we didn't have to deal with it. When we finally dared to abstain, to refrain from acting on the nonsense like I did tonight, inevitably we will have to feel the emotional discomfort. And ideally, one will talk about it rather than eating over it. And that's why I really appreciate our Jules Blessed Vegan community. Because honestly, I had a situation which was a total bummer. I offended someone. Wow, really? How rare. My gosh, it doesn't seem like you to be far too straightforward and offend somebody. I know. But this was unknown to me, and it was by no means intentional, but I was still made aware that it had happened. And it brought up a lot of insecurities for me, you know, of past consequences for offending people with no intention on my side, right? In my heart or anything else, and yet still the consequence. So I was having anxiety about that, and I didn't want to really process it with my husband because he triple reacts. And I'm like, wait, how is you overreacting right now helping me get through this? But when I realized the anxiety was building and I was about to eat over it and I was flipping out, I actually had the courage to bring it up, and his response was lovely, and it went in a direction that I couldn't have even hoped for. So I'm grateful for that. But it really did pan out. When I first heard about it, I was flipping out. And, you know, that whole idea of fear, right? The acronym for fear. I'm trying to think of a clean version. Okay, I think this is clean. So for fear, forget everything and run, right? Forget everything and run. That's how I felt at lunch recess when I heard about this. I wanted to say, forget everything and just run. Okay, by grace, after dinner, I was able to face everything and recover in that moment just for today. And that's all we have, right? I said I'd be doing this one day at a time. Praise God, this is one more day. So I faced everything and remain in recovery. All right, my friends, like if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. Prayer, food, whatever, I'm available. All right, and remember that good thought at the end is by your light. May we see our irrational anxiety for what it is. Yeah, keep it in perspective and let it go, right? All right. Okay, I think that's it. Pinpointing anxiety and fear. Face everything and recover. And until we talk again, my friends, best of all, know that you are blessed.